Hello, good evening. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the important topic of education, that is the state and its role in education. So, we will talk about its meaning and its role in education in this video. So, let's talk about it. First of all, my name is Amol Singh, and I'm a student of Liga Muslim University, Santa Malapuram. I'm a first year student of BA. Now let's talk about it. So first of all, to understand this topic, we have to understand that what is education. Without understanding the state, we are not able to understand the scope of state and how it is controlling the education. So now let's talk about the education. Now let's talk about this. That by the education by the state came into existence, what was the need of it? So a little bit introduction is there are two great philosophers, also the Aristotle, Plato, and so many philosophers have said a lot of things regarding this state. But we are just talking about Thomas Hobbes and John Locke. So Thomas Hobbes says that the first thinker, this one, he says that why do we need a state? We need a state because before the state we were in a state conflict, in a constant conflict. To avoid that, the things were not organized. People were fighting for one thing, and for such as state and so many things, such as their property and so many things. So we were in a very unstable state, and after agreeing on some principles, state came into existence. Whereas when John Locke talks about this issue, he says that state came into existence because we were not in not we were not in constant conflict, but actually at that time things was not organized, everything was not decided, some rules and regulation was not there. So actually the main aim of the state is to control everything in a peaceful manner. So this is all about the both of these philosophers. Now let's go to the education. So the education is made up of two words. First is educator, and second is educator. And what does it mean? It means that it is written here, educare means to mold. So it educare means to mold, and educator means just a teacher. So it means that to mold the behavior, or to mold the student by guiding him. And actually the main purpose of the teacher is to bring out the best out of the individual's mind. So it is just because of this is the aim of the education. We will talk about on the slide also. So here in this slide, it's written that meaning and aim of education. The meaning and aim of education has been changed. The aim of education has been changed. It's a dynamic as per the aim of the life. We will talk about it also, but let's discuss some of the definition of the and the aim of the education by some of the philosophers, such as Mahatma Gandhi says that by education he means an all-round drawing out of the best in child's and body and mind and spirit. He wants to see that. Rabindranath Tagore also wants to say that highest education is that which does not merely gives us information but makes our life in harmony and with all existence. So he's talking about the regarding the peace, the harmony, and the peaceful aspect of education that provides us the mental satisfaction. Okay, and according to our Rigveda, the education is something which makes us a man self-reliant and selfless for the welfare of the others, not for our own self, and also independent. This is the aim of the Rig Veda. Now let's talk about the Upanishad. What Upanishad says about the education. They say that it is written in this Upanishad that education is that whose end product is salvation. That's only that the spiritualism, the salvation they talk about. Okay. Also, there is a definition by Swami Vivekanand. He says that education is something. Education is something. Education is the manifestation of perfection. Actually, he is a spiritual philosopher. So he believes that education is the manifestation of perfection already in a man. That God presented inside it. With this definition, he wants to say that perfection already in a man. The teacher is they're just suggesting it, just helping to bring out the best out of individual's minds. So education is just such as a lighting a candle. Education just like a candle, or drawing out. Let's just say like that. Also, now let's talk about some further in brief about the state, its meaning and definition. Okay. So first of all, the one point that is to that is quite to keep in mind is that state is an informal agency. So what are the two agencies? First is formal agency and second is informal agency. Now, what is the formal agency? Formal agencies are the institution, the schools, where we are being trained. We are getting educations. And what is the informal agency? Informal agency are such as family, such as state, media, because these are indirectly affecting us, influencing our life, parents, the society, our interaction. So these are the informal agency. So state is an informal agency, and directly it is affecting our education. Some definition is given by some also scholar. Just say, for example, according to lesson say that the state is a community of a man which poses an organized authority as the highest source of all force. He is also saying that state is the highest source of all force. Means his decision is the final decision. Next scholar is John W. Burgess. He defines that the state is a particular portion of mankind viewed as an organized unit. So he says in that manner. Now let's talk about the characteristic of a state. So basically, there are four characteristics of state. These characteristics can be divided into two parts: physical and political. Physical base of the state are two: territory and population. Political base On the political basis, it has two elements: government and sovereignty. So total it has four elements. Okay. Let's talk about further slide. Now, what's population? Population, the people who are living in a state. And a Greek thinkers, Aristotle has said that here Plato, Aristotle was the student of Plato, so Plato should be on the first and Aristotle should be on the second, but doesn't matter. Let's talk about in this manner also. According to Plato, he because at that time it was an such a city. It was city like. So he says that he has given a fixed number that is 5040. He says that it should be this number should be this number of people should be there in a state. Aristotle said that it should be not long, should be small. You know. So he said it means that uh, is that population should be neither large nor too small. Okay. So now let's talk about territory. Territory is a fixed area, place where the people are living. Every state has its defined area, and where the area is not defined, we can see the fight. Now let's talk about the government. State has something to implement its decision. That's called the government. So according to Strong, in order to make an enforce laws, the state must have a highest authority. The government is that, and that is to keep in mind that government can be changed, but state can't be changed. That's a different matter that we can get the citizenship of another state, but if we are living in this state, we can't change it. So this definition is key. This difference is to be kept in mind. Now let's talk about the sovereignty. Sovereignty means the supremacy. Whose supremacy is there in a state? State has its own supremacy in all its aspects, such as um, internal or external. In internal, it follows no one. It has its own decision. In external, it follows no one. No external power can influence it. It follows its own decision. Okay. So this is all about the four elements of the state. Now let's talk about some other aspect that we have talked about this element. So let's talk about the type of government. As I already told you that the government can change. So there are so many types of government. Some of the examples are given in this: democracy, parliamentary republic, theocracy, totalitarian, empire, world government, communism government, political democracy, federalism, social market economy. Okay, so these are the basic types of the government that are presented. Now let's talk about this education place in Indian Constitution, because we are following the Constitution. So it's very important to talk about it. So education, the subject is in the concurrent list. 42nd Amendment Act 1976 shifted it from state list to concurrent list. Five subjects were transferred, were taken from state to concurrent list. And what is the specialty of this concurrent list? What the subject of this concurrent list is that both the center as well the state can make the laws over these issues, over the state, over this subject. But the point is that if there is some conflict between the state and central government, then the central will decision will be final, not the state. Okay, so that's all about it. State has two elements for its citizen. Now let's talk about that how when a state has supremacy, it doesn't mean that it can do whatever it wants. So it has given us two elements. First is rights and second is duties. Rights are the negative power against the state, and duties are the powers that state wants from us. We are somehow being bounded with these duty. So duty is against us and right is against state. We can claim rights, just look at it. We can claim right, and state can claim us duty from us. We are obedient citizens. Just remember that. So earlier, the fundamental rights were six, and we have been excluded one. We have excluded one. That's the the right of property. Now it's a legal rights. So we have six rights. Okay. So it's all about these rights. We can enforce them by court. Okay. Now let's talk about this. How many fundamental rights are there? Six fundamental rights. What are the fundamental rights? These are the fundamental rights. What are the articles? These are the articles. We can observe here. So one thing that is to be keep in mind. Second is from right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, freedom of religion, and culture and education rights. 29 to 30. We'll talk about it other detail. Now here, article from 29 to 30 talks about the educational rights. Okay, so these rights protect the rights of religion, culture, and linguistic minorities. So these articles talk about the rights of the education. Now there is another right to act, right to education act. You know, so it is written here. Just please, we can read it here. The act is completely titled "The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act." It was passed by the Parliament in August 2009, when the act came into force in 2009. It was passed in 2019, 9, but came into force in 2019, 2010. 88 Constitutional Amendment 2002 inserted Article 21A. Please keep in mind. Indian Constitution, which states that the children from 16 to 14 years should be provided free and compulsory education. Okay, so with the help of these fundamental rights, we are trying to implement the policy of the education. We're getting education. Okay, now function of a state. You know, a state is functioning in terms of education, but how it is function? It is function because of the some because of some articles. Okay, so now a liberal state take the responsibility to develop an education policy for implementing it across the country, because here basically it means that education state is taking some decision for the education of the people. State constitute committee policies, state constitute committees and policies to provide education to the every citizens of the country. It is just state set up commission time to time according to the time, the condition of the society, the condition of the nation. This state is working, has some its expert, so all those things are there. State is for the overall development of the citizen in terms of education, health, information, economy, and social cultural expert. Okay, so we can read that also. It ensures of that all children, irrespective of caste, creed, religious. State cannot discriminate on the basis of this. State has to provide the education to all every aspect of life. For example, state passed NEP 1986, and it has recommended 10th plus 2 plus 3 structure. Now we have according to NAP 2020, we have got the structure of 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Okay, now it is from the first to third class. This one fifth three class to fifth class. Again, sixth, seventh, eighth plus ninth, and tenth, high school, 11th and 12th. So this is the structure. Okay. Now let's talk about it further, that how state try to implement the policies of the education, for the people. So it devised the Universal University Education Commission 1948 49. It was called Dr. Radhakrishna Commission. Okay, it has some aims as per that time. Now again there was a second education commission in 1952. 53 it was called Murali Lal Commission. Now in again 64 66 we have some another policy that's called the Dr. D.S. Kothari. Actually it's also called, it was given to in 68 also. Okay, so we also know that National Education Policy 1986. Okay, and some other policy were there regarding women's education, medium of education, national policy. Education 1920 is there. Development of together teacher education India and adult education. So, okay, these are the ways that state is controlling. State is implementing education among its people, providing education, imparting education to all its citizens by devising and constituting different types of community, different types of committees. So this is all about this topic. Thank you.